Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking the Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Dynamite from Cleveland, Ohio. Before we get into all that, make sure to check out the Walking the Ropes link tree for all things Walking the Ropes. And to start off the show, we have the Undisputed TNT Championship ladder match. Cody Rhodes defending against the other champion, Sammy Guevara. This is an interesting match, and I saw it coming from a mile away, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's very smart, because whoever comes out of this, the champion, will come out of this looking great. Something I don't understand, both men got a very mixed reaction to their intro, and through the match. I thought for sure Sammy would be the favorite, but I guess the fans know something I don't. Sammy cannot let Cody wrestle his match if he looks to win, and Sammy grabs a ladder first. Cody doesn't like that one, so he grabs a bigger one and sets it up in between the barricades and the ring. Cody hits a big suplex off the top of the ladder that Sammy had set up, and he looks to do some more damage as he turns that ladder upside down and drops Sammy in between it. The match is really started out slow, but and I almost thought it was going to be a quick and done match, but no. They pulled out all the stops as Sammy hits a big cutter off the ladder, and Cody then follows it up with a crossroads off of the ladder. It was crazy. But still, Sammy is able to spring to the top to cut Cody off and end the threat of either man getting the belts. Fuego del Sol comes in and gets a Tiger Driver for trying to get involved, but Sammy takes advantage, hits the GTH on the outside, and he pulls out a huge ladder, climbs up to the top, and hits a senton from the top. But the ladder doesn't break, which it has to hurt more than if it actually did. They eventually climb up to the ladder in the middle of the ring. Sammy smashes Cody with the belts, and he wins. Sammy Guevara defeats Cody Rhodes to become the undisputed TNT Champion. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. It's a fantastic match, absolutely. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. As far as for the WTR scale, I gave it a 5 out of 5. The story for this was brilliant. I mean, it's exactly like Razor versus Shawn. It makes one guy come out of this so strong, and the other guy looking very good too. I loved the way they did this. It was perfect. Tony Schiavone talks with Team Taz outside. They say Dante's win was luck, and Ricky next week says he is going to defend against Jay Lethal next week on Rampage. We get a 2-on-1 handicap match, Wardlow versus Dean and Alexander. Wardlow enters and looks to make these two look like chumps as he starts the symphony of powerbombs. He hits a total of 6 and gets the win. Wardlow defeats Dean and Alexander. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 2.5 out of 5. It was a good match. I mean, we pretty much expected this to happen like that. As far as the WTR scale, I really liked it. It was a 3 out of 5. There was some stuff with Shawn, where he was told to sit on the ramp, stuff like that. It was really good. We are definitely getting Wardlow leaving the Pinnacle eventually, and I'm looking forward to that. We get a trios match, the Inner Circle versus 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. The tension continues as Santana and Ortiz walk right past Jericho and straight to the ring as Jericho's posing on the stage. The Inner Circle is not looking good, and I hope they can get it back on the same page, but instantly they argue and it costs them the start. 2.0 and Garcia take control and double team Santana. But even when the Inner Circle makes a comeback, they start to argue again, and it costs them. 2.0 and Garcia keep control, wearing down Ortiz this time. He finally fights back, and Jericho was ready for the longest time, but Santana just came up, and Ortiz chose to tag him instead. He is able to fight off 2.0, but Jericho just decided to leave the ringside, and he's just standing watching as Santana and Ortiz fight a 2-on-3 at this point. They refuse to tag Jericho, but he decides to save them anyways, hitting the Judas effect, allowing Santana to hit a pile driver for the win. The Inner Circle defeats 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5, and for the WTR scale, I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. It was a good match, and the story is going well. I just really don't want to see the Inner Circle break up. That's my big hang-up. Archer then challenges Hangman Adam Page to a Texas death match for the title, and Page accepts and says he will bring hell with him. Jurassic Express talks with Private Party, and they seem to be overstepping the Gun Club for a title match on Rampage. CM Punk makes his way to the ring, and he is dressed to fight tonight. He says he is sick of hearing himself talk, and he unzips his sweater, showing off his new scarf. Says he would challenge MJF for a match to this, but he figured out it's pretty cheap, as is MJF's personality. Says he knows that if he calls out MJF, he'll be in a cheap suit and nothing will happen. MJF music hits, and what do you know? He's in a suit, not dressed to fight. He keeps asking if the fans want the match, and MJF says he's not going to waste this match on Cleveland, and says next week it'll be in Chicago, CM Punk versus MJF, finally. MJF then says he will beat Punk, but not only that, after he will finally show the world the real CM Punk, the one that doesn't get what he wants, and he'll make Punk leave wrestling once again. Punk says the best thing he did was leave, but the best thing he also did was come back. Says he would rather be himself than MJF, and he stands by all of his decisions. MJF then calls out the Pinnacle, and FTR and Wardlow come out from the ramp, but notably Shawn Spears isn't there, and he jumps CM Punk from behind and allowing everybody else to come in and jump Punk. They hold Punk down and smash him with a chair, but Wardlow is notably just watching on until MJF instructs him to hit Punk with a powerbomb onto a chair. He does this, but he looks mad about it, and MJF then sits cross-legged on Punk's chest and tells him he will end his career. The Acclaimed say they're going to get revenge on Moxley on Rampage for everything he did to them before he left. Griff Garrison and Julia Hart are about to talk about Malachi Black, but they're interrupted by Smart Mark Sterling, who says Jade has hand-picked Julia Hart for a TBS title match this Friday, but she just had to sign a waiver because her eye is still fucked. So I wonder why Jade decided to pick her. We then get a singles match, Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet. This is a grudge match that really has no reason if Layla just didn't act like everyone was against her and her friends just wouldn't hate her. Layla controls on the outside, but only for a moment as Red sends her back into the ring and hits hard kicks and a jawbreaker. Red then takes firm control as she taunts Layla, but Layla stops her dead and knocks out Red. And starts to control or target Red's shoulder. Red slowly comes back against Layla as she hits a double knee drop into the ropes, but Red reverses it. And then Red reverses one of Layla's moves with a spear, goes for final slice, but Layla reverses that and hits a big knee drop, and could have won it, definitely, but decides to switch to an arm bar, but Red gets to the ropes. So Layla then catches a kick from Red, who had finally fought back, rolls her up, pulls the tights, and gets the win. Layla could have already won the match, and then she had to cheat to win after that, so I mean, yeah, Layla Hirsch defeats Red Velvet, so it seems like Layla is the more unfocused one, or I don't know, we'll have to see. For my Mount Caesar scale, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was a good match, there was nothing really to complain about. For the WTR scale, I gave it a 2.75 out of 5. I really don't understand why there's arguing, because Layla doesn't really have any ground here, like her teammates haven't been an issue for her. After the match, Layla locks in an armbar and Statlander comes out to make the save. Malachi Black talks about why he did what he did and says he did it for the fans. And then he says, or the House of Black says that Pac will be humbled. And they say that just like death, they are inevitable. Britt Baker comes out to celebrate her accomplishments. She says she doesn't blame Punk and MJF for name-dropping her because she's done so much this year. Says she has 9 singles victories since winning the title, all with a broken wrist. I'm waiting for someone to come out because she just seems to be looping, but oddly, she just leaves. We get a recap of the rivalry between FTR and Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson, as their match is happening this Friday finally. Vicky Guerrero graces us with her voice, and Nyla says she wants Ruby Soho because she cost her the TBS title. We finally get the lights out match, Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy. Cole looks to end Orange Cassidy for accidentally bumping Britt last week and being a general thorn in his side over the last few weeks. Orange doesn't care like normal. Except maybe he does, as he breaks his own sunglasses and then charges in with hard shots and then gets dumped to the outside. This match is going fast and furious already, and I feel it will only get worse and worse as the match progresses. Keep in mind, whoever wins only gets the pride of winning this match, as it doesn't go on either man's record. Adam Cole goes for a chair, but Danhausen gets pulled out from underneath the ring, and he curses Adam Cole, allowing Orange to take advantage. We also know that Danhausen has signed with AEW, and I'm so happy with that. I am looking forward to whatever he's going to do. Orange then sends Cole through the timekeeper's table to avoid the Panama Sunrise, and he goes for an Orange punch after that, but Cole puts up the ring bell and smashes Orange's hand. Cole looks to use the chain, but Orange stops him, but can't stop the brainbuster. Cole then sets up two chairs side by side and goes for, I believe it was either a Canadian Destroyer or a brainbuster, but Orange stops him and hits a driver into the chairs instead. Cole then calls to the ramp, and Brandon Cutler comes out, but is stopped by Wheeler Yuta, and Bobby Fish takes out Wheeler Yuta. Chuck Taylor takes out Bobby Fish, and the Bucks take out him. And it seems like they're going to take advantage of this because there's no other team to come out, except here comes Roppongi Vice. They take out the Young Bucks, allowing Orange to hit the beach break for a near fall. He goes nuts. He hits the Orange punch, but can't get the pin, allowing Cole to hit the low blow, but Cassidy had a cup with thumbtacks on it this time. And Cole ducks out, so Orange can't get advantage on this. So he has to chase after him. They go to the backstage area. Cole puts Cassidy through the table in the go position, but only gets a near fall, and they continue to beat each other down with whatever they can find. And Cole climbs up the entrance tunnel, but Orange follows him, hits a low blow, followed by the best friend hug, and sending himself and Cole through the stage, and Orange pins Cole in the rubble. Orange Cassidy defeats Adam Cole, and for my Malteser scale, I gave this a 5 out of 5. For the WTR scale, I gave it a 5 out of 5. Everything about this was perfect. They did it absolutely perfectly, and Adam Cole is still undefeated in AEW. Whether you like it or not, it's not on his record. My overall for the show is a 5 out of 5. They did amazing. There was really nothing wrong with it. My segment of the night goes to Punk versus MJF. And the match of the night is the ladder match as well as the lights out match. I couldn't pick one. They just did so well. For the performers of the night, it goes to Sammy, Cody, Orange, and Adam. They all did amazing, and that was just a great show. And that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I'll see you in the next one.